Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I am your host, William Tapley, also known as the third eagle of the apocalypse and the co-prophet of these end times. Well, this morning I was surfing the internet and I came across a very interesting article about Pope Francis, who made an announcement this morning of 15 ailments which he saw in the Curia. And this was his annual Christmas message. And before we go any farther, I would like to read for you the definition of the Curia, because some of you may not know what the Pope is talking about. And this is from Wikipedia. The Roman Curia is the administrative apparatus of the Holy See and the central governing body through which the Roman Pontiff conducts the business of the entire Catholic Church. And so I thought what I could do is kind of read through these 15 ailments, and I think you will find that, at least I found, that they were very petty. And he uses the word Alzheimer's and cancer and schizophrenia. He lists quite a few different diseases, and he uses the word sick or sickness at least 7 times. And to me it is kind of petty, if you ask me. That's my opinion. Now, the reason he uses the number 15 rather than, let's say, listing 14 ailments or 17 ailments is because 15 gives his list a little more authority, because 15 is a rosary number. It's the number of decades in a full 3-mystery rosary. And it's the same way, for example, when you use highway speed limit signs. You always end those numbers with 5 or 0. That gives them authority. People are more likely to obey the law if the speed limit is 65 or 55 rather than, let's say, 59 or 63. And I think that's why the Pope lists 15 of these so-called ailments. And his number 1 list: feeling immortal, immune, notice that medical term, or indispensable. A Curia that doesn't criticize itself, that doesn't update itself, that doesn't seek to improve itself, is a sick body. Well, maybe the Pope has become a doctor. Number 2, working too hard. Well, this one I agree with the Pope on. Rest for those who have done their work is necessary, good, and should be taken seriously. Actually, the Blessed Mother at Bayside told Veronica Lucan that rest cures all. And I've always remembered that. That is excellent advice for all of you, all of my subscribers, all of you who listen to my broadcasts regularly. Number 3, becoming spiritually and mentally hardened. It's dangerous to lose that human sensibility that lets you cry with those who are crying and celebrate with those who are joyful. Well, I agree, but I'm not sure if this is something you criticize the Curia for. Number 4, planning too much. Preparing things well is necessary, but don't fall into the temptation of trying to close or direct the freedom of the Holy Spirit, which is bigger and more generous than any human plan. Well, of course, we should let the Holy Spirit direct all of our lives. Pope is not wrong on that one. Number 5, working without coordination. Well, this is kind of strange. First he complains that they're planning too much, and now he says they work without coordination. Like an orchestra that produces noise when the foot tells the hand, I don't need you, or the hand tells the head, I'm in charge. Well, that's kind of cute. Number 6, having spiritual Alzheimer's. Well, this is funny. He loves these medical conditions, mental conditions too. We see it in people who have forgotten their encounter with the Lord. Number 7, being rivals or boastful. Well, this is all kind of petty if you ask me. Suffering, number 8, suffering from existential schizophrenia. More medical terms. It's the sickness of those who live a double life full of hypocrisy that is typical of mediocre and progressive spiritual emptiness that academic degrees cannot fill. It's a sickness that often affects those who, abandoning pastoral service, limit themselves to bureaucratic work, losing contact with reality and concrete people. Well, the Pope has often portrayed himself as a man of the people, and I think that's what he is trying to do. Maybe a little self-promotion here, Pope Francis. What do you think? Number 9, committing the terrorism of gossip. It's the sickness of cowardly people who, not having the courage to speak directly, talk behind people's backs. Number 10, glorifying one's bosses. It's the sickness of those who court their superiors. I would say this is really petty if you ask me. Number 11, being indifferent to others. Number 12, having a funereal face. Number 12, wanting more. Pope Francis seems to be describing his Curia as a bunch of gossipy women, in my opinion. Now, it's all right to level that criticism against them, but isn't he really describing them? That is what they are. He is saying that they are very, very petty people. And number 14, forming closed circles. Now this is where I think we find out finally what Pope Francis is really getting to. This is his real criticism. Forming closed circles that seek to be stronger than the whole. This sickness always starts with good intentions, but as time goes by, it enslaves its members by becoming a cancer that threatens the harmony of the body and causes so much bad scandals, especially to our younger brothers. Well, here is what I believe Pope Francis is complaining about here. Before this recent October Synod, Cardinal Burke and several other bishops wrote a book criticizing the agenda of the October Synod. And it had an effect on the bishops so that they did not pass Pope Francis' 2 major agendas. Number 1, allowing communion to divorced and remarried Catholics, and secondly, accepting homosexuality. And this bothered him a great deal because it was planned for those 2 agendas to pass in the spring of 2014, which would usher in the reign of the Antichrist. The Antichrist has not come yet. Jesus is holding up his appearance. And I believe all the many rosaries that we are saying in our rosary groups are causing this to happen. And his number 15 criticism of the Curia, seeking worldly profit and showing it off. He probably doesn't like Cardinal Burke selling his book. It's the sickness of those who insatiably try to multiply their powers and to do so are capable of calumny, defamation, and discrediting others. Pope Francis is kind of thin-skinned, if you ask me. Even in newspapers and magazines. See what I'm talking about? Naturally, to show themselves as being more capable than others. So now I think if you read between the lines, we can see that Pope Francis doesn't like this criticism, and it has affected his agenda. I believe the upshot of these 15 criticisms will be that Pope Francis is going to demote more bishops, and he is going to pack next year's October Synod with bishops who will pass his agenda. And I'm sure he is laying the groundwork with this criticism which he leveled this morning. This is really an odd Christmas message, in my opinion. And if you would like more information about my ministry here on YouTube, visit my new thirdeaglemedia.com website.